Since the late 1970s, we developed software for the civil engineering and land development industry responsible for new growth and redevelopment. As we flew around the nation selling and servicing thousands of consulting firms, we could witness the sprawling subdivisions which were designed by CAD and our technology. It became obvious that a disturbing trend was happening. The pattern of development had gotten worse, not better, because of the repetitive, mindless software functions that replaced careful thought required for time-consuming, manual drafting of a neighborhood design. What would have taken weeks or months could now be done in just a few minutes. These subdivisions were not disposable products, but unsustainable projects that would negatively affect the economics and living standards for a massive number of people for possibly centuries. Over a quarter century ago, we formed a spin-off think tank to use the technology we pioneered to discover ways to solve problems of growth without sacrificing the values in space. Experimentation led to our first discovery we coined coving, which separated the rigid relationship between home front and curb and instead developed a meandering space in the front yard where each home was set to create a curved pattern different than the alignment of the street. By stretching the front setback line and developing flowing street patterns, we could significantly reduce the length of a street by a demonstrated average of 25% without a density loss using the very same regulatory minimums of standard suburban design. Instead of walking to a park 5 or 10 minutes away, the street took on a park-like setting, enhancing curb appeal and related home values, as well as significantly increasing average lot size. By the late 1990s, we introduced the Bay Home, which was the first merging of architecture and planning, where living spaces within the home blended with open spaces around it by creating panoramic views in a village-like setting. Unlike coving, where homes are set as an art form, Bay homes are carefully staggered to provide a panoramic view and intended as a more viable alternative to townhomes, twin homes, and the rigid new urbanist patterns. We then looked at the zoning patterns. The transitional patterns common to the suburbs place the highest density and cheapest products along arterial streets and other bad locations, resulting in lower overall value. Somehow placing a cheap product up front and the most population in the worst places seemed normal. We began to reverse this transition by placing better products in the perimeters and place everyone, regardless of social strata, in better locations. We coined this new land use relationship CND, or Connective Neighborhood Design. We also standardized on wider, meandering walks set in easements as they extend beyond the right-of-way. This attention to geometric detail would not just beautify any neighborhood, but has significant safety advantages when pedestrians intermix with vehicular traffic. As we continued research in how vehicular and pedestrian systems could be improved, we developed a science in neighborhood street patterns that minimize the number of accelerate, stop situations, or flow cycles to reduce both time and energy in transit. For pedestrians, we developed a systematic approach to design, the main trails being the first step in a process to assure all growth was truly walkable. As conflicts increased between pedestrians and vehicles, new innovations in design were created to enhance vehicular flow while simultaneously increasing pedestrian safety. Our diffusers are a far better solution for pedestrians than intrusive and potentially dangerous traffic circles and roundabouts. Diffusers have an additional benefit as creating unique entrances and senses of place. We used the proven experiences of merging architecture and planning with the Bay homes and began developing new designs where every home, single family and attached, at all income levels would have the significant advantages. More recently, by merging architecture and cove patterns, we enhanced the efficiency, living standards, and value of single-family and duplex units on platted lots using a method we call architectural shaping. To increase premium views, we routinely pull away from site amenities called pullback. What this does is double or triple the number of premium locations compared to conventional subdividing. The current regulatory systems in place are seriously flawed, either encouraging most minimal development or making regulatory demands too restrictive and complex, so that land developments become a paint by numbers, preventing the masterpieces. The research we have done in this area will lead to a new generation of city regulations that encourage and reward better submittals without being cumbersome and overly complex. All of these discoveries were in conjunction with developing new educational systems and new technologies that will extend beyond our doors to every city, consultant, and school worldwide. We believe that within a decade, we can disrupt the entire land development and building industry with a new age of solutions that will bring design, attention to detail, and thought back into the growth of our world. Land Mentor allows you to be at the forefront of change.